So here we are, March 13th. She's flying to Montreal for the second Reitman's shoot. She's doing it on location at this old restaurant, and the filming has begun, and tension is already out of control. Now, the big problem on this shoot was that the marketing campaign and their idea for the ad was, in Meghan's estimation, way too lame to even consider. Now, we're going to talk about what the original one was and then what the change was. I think the original marketing idea was a little bit 1980s. Like, I think the whole idea of it was a little bit, not very updated. And I think that the director's second idea that he finally pulled together because Meghan wouldn't shut up about doing the first one was superior to the original one. So I'm not going to say that Meghan was completely out in left field thinking that the storyline was a little bit, but, I mean, I would have been complaining about it for this money, but whatever. She had a contract for 8 days' work, and it paid Meghan $202,000 plus 7% royalties. So an increase here. There was a total of $4 million. There was a total of a $4 million budget. It's Canadian dollars, though, so let's remember that. And it was all shaped around Meghan's fashion credibility and was billed as aspirational without being alienating. So that's kind of the brand's attempt here, Let's look nice, but let's not be like so high fashion that nobody would ever consider. The head of marketing described Meghan as the national spokesperson for Reitman's. We wanted someone with a point of view. And Tom Bauer says, and this literally made me laugh out loud, we wanted someone with a point of view, but very soon many of the creative team associated with the campaign were exhausted by Meghan's point of view. And I cannot even blame them. This is the most disastrous filming incident that we've come up against yet. And we've heard before that Meghan was difficult, but we haven't had very many particulars, but we get them on this one. So here's the concept for the ad, and this is what Meghan just could not deal with. Discussions about the commercial's concept or storyline had started in February. The 35-second commercial for the summer campaign was called The Label. Meghan, the creative directors employed by the tech agency, and John Grammatico, the film director, disagreed about the concept that ended with Meghan delivering the tagline, "Reitman's, really?" Over several weeks, Meghan had denounced Hank's storyboard, and this is what it was. A handsome man asks Meghan to dance at a party in order to be able to read the label on her dress. Could such a beautiful woman really be wearing a Reitman's dress? And Meghan is like, seriously, that makes no sense. Why? Why would that even be happening? And she said, and these are the words that they credit to her, and I just find these astonishing. It's in quotation marks. But again, nobody had her on film saying this as far as I know. So this is somebody's recollection of what she's saying, and I found this to be stunning. She says, I'm a brash American, and if my name is going to be on something, I'm going to have my say. Now, I can imagine her saying, if my name is going to be on something, I'm going to have my say. But this business about I'm a brash American, could anybody be that obnoxious? Like, who would say that about themselves? I don't know, maybe Meghan, because she doesn't seem like she has a whole lot of self-reflection about what comes out of her mouth. So maybe she really would characterize herself like that in her own statement. But anyway, the problem is that had she had some better ideas, they might have listened to her. But she didn't have any ideas. She just wanted to complain. And she did have one vague idea. She said that maybe they could shoot in a Caribbean location, and she'd like more money in the budget. But as far as what they had planned, hardly. The thing is that, and Meghan also said, she's like, you guys promised a really good ad campaign, and you've lied to Reitman's. This isn't a good campaign. This is lame, and I don't want to work with something that is so dumb. So on the 4th of March, they're trying to film on the 13th. We're roaring up to it. We're on the 4th of March. It's still ferocious debates. They keep fighting back and forth with what she wants, what she's saying she thinks it should be. And again, vague criticisms, no substance, no answers for what would be better. And everything was being rejected by Meghan. She bulldozed her way through and never said a nice word, complained one of the team. No one stood up to her. As the argument reached a climax, Meghan just hung up. I mean, that in and of itself would have been enough for me to be shocked by somebody's behavior. That's the tip of the iceberg, my friends. That evening, John Grammatico, a director known as a professional without an ego, emailed Tank's creative director. He's very kind in his estimation of Meghan's behavior, I will say that. And he's not a sycophant either. It's just that he wants to get the work done. And he understands celebrity, and he understands what needs to be done to work with them. And he said that Meghan's suggestion wasn't completely wrong. Maybe they could redo the storyboard for the commercial. He said the agency kept focusing on the dress and the label, but Meghan wanted the focus to be on herself. And he said, let's be honest, she is the talent, and what talent wants it to be about something other than them? Like they were hired for their face, for their fame. You know, we need to give her what she wants in order for us to just get through this. He said she needs to be flattered. And we have to stop fighting against the fact that that's what she wants. We know that's what she wants. Let's just do it. Give her what she wants, get through this, and just move on. So this is the second ad campaign, and I think it is a little better. And I think it would have definitely appealed. I think this John guy was a genius. I think he could read Meghan so well, because what he ends up writing and what he ends up presenting would have been the exact message that Meghan would have wanted to put forth. Now listen to this. The solution was to put Meghan in charge because she's beautiful and famous and she's in control, rather than the man looking at the label, suggested Grammatico. He should be looking at Meghan. Reluctantly, the creative director agreed. So the script was rewritten. Grammatico did it. And his script did have a punch. At the end of their dance, unknown but jealous women watching the dancers try to get a peek at the label on Meghan's stunning dress and are confronted by Meghan. As she turns around on the dance floor, she tells the women with a smile, Reitman's, really? Grammatico's solution was accepted, but the seed of discord had been sown. All right, well, can't you just see Meghan loving that idea? And also, I've watched all these commercials. Meghan comes in walking stunning, and then there's like these two pale, pallid, wan-looking women. And Meghan would have loved being the star, not only of the commercial, but getting to be pitted against other women who she thought were less attractive than herself. This whole thing would have been right up her alley. Well, 1 year after the first campaign, Meghan was less enamored that her brand was attached to Reitman's. Not only was she associated with a down-market label, but their new clothes were decidedly unappealing. In addition, her sense of entitlement had grown. To prove her importance, she demanded additional special treatment. Okay, so here they are. They're trying to film this new ad campaign. They have put her into a room that cost $1,531 a night. It's a suite. It's got a master bedroom, living room, bathroom. It's not good enough. It's not big enough. It's not luxury enough. She insists, said her agent. By her agent, whenever they talk about her agent, her American agent, that's Lori Sales, the one who got her, I guess, who got her this deal in the first place. But remember, we did say that Meghan had sort of got her foot in the door here. But anyway, Lori Sales is the one stuck with being a complete and total monster most of the time to Reitman's. So she comes back. Meghan tells her agent what she wants. Her agent goes and tells Reitman's. She insists, said her agent. The production team resisted. No, costing us $1,500 a night for her to stay there. That's good enough. Oh, no, it's not, says the agent. She wants photographs of the hotel rooms and the rooms assigned to her on the set, shouted her agent. So before she'd even accept, she wanted to see where they were going to put her. Can you imagine? I mean, this is just getting so weird. Then she also insisted that she be registered under an alias. Now, that we've seen this before from Meghan. It's just like the same song and dance every time with this girl. It's just getting so dull. Jane Smith is who she wanted to be registered under. And her agent said her identity must be kept secret. Meghan doesn't want to be hassled by the hotel staff and other guests or photographers. Like anybody had ever hassled her a day in her life. And the production team was just shocked. We're in Montreal. Everyone speaks French. Nobody knows Meghan. This is not exactly, where her star shines brightest. And in the event, the hotel refused the request. We're not going to register under an alias. Who's staying here? Meghan? Okay, we'll register as Meghan Markle, but none of this Jane Smith business. And, lo and behold, registered under her own name, and not one paparazzi came knocking. Meghan finally gets to the hotel. Not one thing can she find that meets with her high standards. They had bought, there was beautiful flower arrangements everywhere, bottles of her favorite wine. And this is really stunning to me. They had even laid out for her a special calligraphy pen, carefully laid out on the tables, so that should she want to spend some time on this hobby of hers, should she want to write some notes, she would have a writing utensil to her standard. I thought that was like wildly thoughtful. Yet she criticized everything. Everything. She walked in and she was grossed out by the Tempur-Pedic bathrobe and slippers. This isn't Dior, and I'm not interested in this commercial brand. That's gross. Tempur-Pedic bathrobe, slippers. That's embarrassing for this hotel. And the tea was the wrong blend. I don't drink that. And the green juice was warm. The whole thing was just, quite frankly, it was just not acceptable. And the fact that they would bring me here so that I could wear this gross robe and drink warm juice was an insult to me. All right, so she finally gets on set at 7:10. Everyone is on pins and needles at her reception. And everybody in the production team, 58 people on this team, have been carefully instructed that they are not to speak to Meghan. There's a few carefully selected individuals who are deemed acceptable enough to speak to Her Royal Highness. But everybody else better shut up. And so, having been given this edict before Meghan's arrival, you can imagine that the staff was not super excited for her to even show up. Maybe excited in the sense of like, what's she gonna do? Like, if she's already wilding out this much and she hasn't even got here, what is she really gonna do when she gets here? So everybody noticed when she walked in, she gave everyone a forced smile, but the whisper across the production team was equally poisonous. She's fake sweet. They could see it. They knew. She had been given 2 hours to have her hair and makeup done. 2 hours. Now, I don't know what's going on any film set, but I'm telling you right now, if you need 2 hours to make yourself presentable, there ain't much anybody can do for you. That's ridiculous. 2 hours? What are you doing in there? What are you making the makeup? You sewing the wig? What exactly are you doing where you would need 2 hours to get ready? Then last minute, Meghan said she also needed her nails painted. So they were going to need to get somebody up in here to do that. And this poor girl comes in, who's supposed to be doing her hair. Meghan had 2 friends on set, her hairdresser and her makeup artist, who she was friends with. But all these other people, no thank you. And this poor manicurist who had been hustled on to do her nails, hopped in on the conversation that Meghan was having with her hairdresser, and then she was dismissed summarily for even thinking she could join the conversation. According to those involved, Meghan was rude and unpleasant, and the poor manicurist was stunned. There was silence as her nails were finished, and then the manicurist was dismissed. She left the location in tears, and she said later, "This unusual situation caused me stress and it still haunts me." Meghan didn't care. How dare this girl? She's been called in to do my nails, but she's not called in to have a conversation with me. I was talking with Felix and Marco, not you. Can you imagine? Well, I don't understand why Meghan would find this to be a productive way in the world. How could this be helpful for you in life, to go through life like this? Finally, she deigns to get on set. But her hairdresser and Marco had to be basically stitched to her side the whole time. They weren't allowed to leave her side, and she was only nice to them, like openly, super kind to them. Oh my gosh, yes. And then move to everybody else. It was such a galling difference between how she treated her friends and how she treated those that she considered to be beneath her, who were just workers on the set. Get these peasants away from me. The other thing that was real shocking was that, she's been brought here to wear Reitman's clothes. That's the whole point. It's an ad campaign. And she continued to deride the clothing and said, this is definitely inferior to Chanel. No one claimed it was the same thing. No one, that's the whole point. Because we can't all be wearing Chanel. But why would you come on knowing what you're trying to do here? Knowing the down market value of the clothes, knowing that that's the whole thing, and then being like, it's not Chanel. Yeah, duh. Okay, I mean, like, what are you talking about? It's not Chanel. No one said it was. But this really annoyed people because wouldn't it annoy any of us if you had this person on set who was just saying stupid things to just be negative? And it sparked a lot of members of the team to openly mock her behind her back. Like, to each other, they were making they were goofing off all kinds behind her back. The attitude on set was deteriorating so quickly. And the team was making fun of her behind her back. She was openly refusing to follow the directions of the director. She kept asking him to change his angle. She kept asking him to do things differently. She was being so difficult, not only in her attitudes with everybody, but even in the way that she would accept direction. They worked for 12 hours that first day. 12 slap hours, and they still didn't get all of the shots that they needed. They had to have 17 shots, and somehow in 12 hours they couldn't get it done. There were two critical shots that still had to be done. Weren't able to do it. The second day, things got noticeably worse. So Meghan had said that there was a pair of suede shoes that she wanted the wardrobe staff to buy. To satisfy another of her demands, the wardrobe staff had bought a pair of expensive Aquazzura beige suede shoes chosen by Meghan to go with this specific outfit. And at her behest, they had purchased these for the wardrobe department, right? Let's bear that in mind. She's over there getting ready, spending her 2 hours to make herself presentable. And from her dressing room, Meghan was heard complaining about the production, the clothes, the style, the script. Everything met with her disapproval and her disdain. In particular, she implied that the marketing director was desperately lacking in fashion sense. The gall. The gall. These people are paying you to be the face of their ad campaign. Why? Why in the world would you disparage the brand openly like this? And that's just, the lack of class and the lack of human decency is stunning. Like, she thinks that she is so high end. Everything's going to be high luxury, high end. But I'm like, start with your own behavior. What good does it do to be dressed in Chanel and Dior? What good does it do to walk around in super expensive shoes and, dripping with diamonds if the way you treat people is trash? Nobody cares the way you look. They care about how you made them feel. So you can come in being the most beautiful person in the world, but, what is this? And the way that you act towards people is the easiest thing you can do to look beautiful. And again, not in a manipulative way, but even if she wanted to use it in a manipulative way, why not go down that path instead? I don't understand. Anyway, not surprisingly, everybody on the crew was over it. 100% over it. They weren't going to deal with this anymore. She thinks that they're stupid. She thinks that they're lame. She thinks that they lack fashion sense. She thinks that they are beneath her in every conceivable way. Let's just speak French. She won't understand us. Let's just speak French. She can be over there in ignorance. We're done. We're not even going to cater to this person anymore. And Meghan was offended. And she took it personally. Quite frankly, as she should have. It was meant as a personal dig. And during the filming, Meghan was asked, what Canadian women inspire you? And she laughed when she asked for examples. And so they told her, and her response was, none of them inspires me. You can't make me say something I don't want or and I don't believe in, so. No woman in Canada would be anything I'd aspire to. What? Like, you couldn't just, of the list of people given, you couldn't have just been like, I really like blank, blank, or blank about that person. No one's saying you have to go embody them. No one's saying you have to, go represent them in the biopic of their life. All it's saying is, which of these people inspire you? It's just, Meghan, why are you so unwilling to be decent? I thought kindness was a non-negotiable. Maybe she's got a different definition of kindness. Is it opposite day every day for Meghan? No one dared to challenge the star except John Grammatico. I don't like the shot, Meghan complained. Initially, her demands for changes to the angles were rejected. But towards the end of the day, Grammatico relented. Whatever, he sighed and obeyed. At the end, they were eyeballing one another. It was a terrible second day of filming. Like, you could not believe, you could not, in your wildest imagination, you could not even imagine somebody acting like this in real life. Like, this sounds like a villain in a movie. Like, were they working with Cruella de Vil? It's shocking that anybody could be like this. But the shock continues when at the end of filming at 7 p.m., she was like jetting out the door. And her agent had already called and been like, she won't stay 1 minute past 7, so don't even think about it. She walks out the door. And Tom Bauer's not ready to get sued, so he says this generous statement. To the surprise of the wardrobe staff, Meghan forgot to leave behind the Aquazzura shoes. Mistakenly, she walked out of the apartment wearing them. That's the last time we'll work together, Gomatico muttered accurately. It was all an accident, was it? The very shoes she requested that they should buy for the photo shoot, she walked out in. Oops, by accident. But she didn't by accident return them either, so, you know. Everyone on staff that day was shocked by her behavior and were quick to say so. They weren't ready to cover for her. It's nice to suffer with you, grumbled one account executive to a cameraman. She's definitely the meanest person I've ever met. Just saying. The third director posted on Facebook. Another female member of the team would be more specific. A longtime fan of Suits and Meghan. That person had looked forward to working with the actress. Instead, I thought she was a bit of a bully, filled with a narcissist entitlement complex that had everyone walking on eggshells, as well as the agency and production teams work around the clock under tremendous stress with no demonstration of appreciation at all. More often than not, sarcastic, condescending, demeaning criticism. That's shocking. And anyone among us, if somebody experienced work with us came away saying that, we would be crushed that that's the way we had come across. First of all, I don't think anyone among us would have ever come across that way, on purpose or by accident. But to know that somebody could finish working with you and that's what they'd have to say, devastating, devastating. And how Meghan thinks she can go through life and that there just won't be any comeuppance for this behavior blows my mind. She truly thinks she has the world bewitched. Well, there's still a third day left to do, and it seemed like it might not even get off the ground because everyone was so tired of what they had experienced with Meghan that it seemed like everything might just fizzle before the ad campaign had even finished shooting. And the president of Reitman's Retail reached out to Lori Sale, met with her in LA. He happened to be where he could meet with her. He met with her at a Los Angeles hotel, and he said to Lori Sale, this is unbelievable. The way she's treating people, the way she's talking about people. She's supposed to be the face of this brand, and she can't be more degrading and scathing in her estimation of Reitman's. And if she's going to be talking like that to us, we're all on this project together, we're all being paid by Reitman's, literally she's bad-mouthing the head of marketing, not to her face, but in the next room, loud enough that that woman can hear her. If this is going to be her tone, if this is going to be the way she functions, I just don't even know if we need to keep working with her. Okay, because she seems like she doesn't even want to fulfill the rest of her contract. That's the vibe we're getting. And if that's how it is, then maybe we need to talk about some way to get out of this. Because we got another day of filming today and it can't go the way it just did. She's off the rails, was the way that they described Meghan. She's off the rails. And it was just a real question mark about whether Meghan would even pull it together enough to film that third day. She had a contract, but it didn't seem like people didn't even know if she was going to show up the next day. That's how bad it had gone first day, second day. So Lori calls Meghan, and she said that kind of behavior will never happen again. You're not going to act like that, okay? Because you've signed a deal with these people. You're working for them. They are paying you. And you're going to show up and you're going to act like a professional. And you're going to stop this diva behavior because you're not going to get any more work because people talk. And in plain language, the agent ordered her client to send handwritten apologies and fulfill her contract and to stop this BS behavior. No apologies were forthcoming. No. Meghan couldn't use that fancy calligraphy pen for anything meaningful. Oh, no. And the thing is, too, when would she have found time to write 58 apology letters? But somehow, I'm not going to apologize, says Meghan. But what needs to happen is I need a completely different team. I had to act that way because of the way other people were acting. So I just can't work with those people anymore. And if you want me to fulfill my contract, I'm going to need to work with other people. Okay? Because it was a hostile environment and I was not going to be pushed around. And if that's a problem, then yeah, I'm not going to fulfill my contract. I'm not going to get pushed around. So either find a different production team or there won't be a third day of filming. I can tell you that. Okay. So they did. They found another production company, and another company was employed for the third day of filming. Wild behavior, okay? Wild. Unsurprisingly, the fear that Meghan generated made some of the team reluctant to describe their experiences. But some people went another way about it. Remember the director of marketing who had been left in tears because she could hear Meghan talking about what a pathetic sense of style she had and openly talking unkindly about her, left the location in tears on that second day of filming. Yet in her remembrances of Meghan, she describes a completely different scenario. She says that Meghan was excellent and that she thoroughly enjoyed the collaboration and her input was well received. She was kind, she was thoughtful, and she conducted herself as a professional. You know, I can't imagine why this would be this person's remembrance of Meghan. Nobody else had that experience at all. So I don't know if she was just, struck by the celebrity. I don't know if she was afraid that if she said something about Meghan, she would hurt her own career or Meghan would come back in some biting way. I have no idea. But for whatever reason, Meghan struck fear in the heart of everybody who worked with her. People definitely described their experiences differently than the way that marketing director described them. Now, post-production. Okay, so it's over. They finally pull it off. Everyone's done, thank God. In the post-production of the advertisements, Meghan sent countless comments and demands about changes to the color of her lipstick and her waistline. You guys, I saw an ad of her wearing this dress. I'll include it right here. Does that look like her waistline to you? And I find it very interesting that she'd be so concerned about her waistline, because I imagine that when she finally got around William and Kate, Kate's beautiful willowy figure would have been like a personal affront to her. Anyway, one request that she had was of this photograph of her sitting down with open sandals. And she was particularly worried about what people would say about her feet. She said, "Please fix my feet for me. I get slaughtered online for people picking apart my feet. There's a scar on my left foot, and my right foot isn't the prettiest. There's a long toe, etc. If you can soften that so it doesn't distract from the shot, that would be amazing. Silly, I know, but trust me, ... She's just so wildly insecure. I mean, I guess it would get like really annoying if everybody was always telling you about your ugly feet. What are you going to do about that? And I don't understand, I really have never understood the need to pick apart somebody's physical appearance. What can they do about that? What are they going to get, plastic surgery on their feet to appease the masses? Who could care less? Anybody wants to say some negative little comment, it's like, oh, this isn't right. Your eyebrows are wrong. this isn't right. Why does your hair look like that? Why is this? Why is that? Okay. What are you going to do about it if I don't fix it? You going to be able to sleep at night? That would have been my... If somebody doesn't like my feet, that says more about their need than mine, Okay. And I don't, so for Meghan, I don't know. She has a much bigger online following, so she probably heard that same comment over and over and over and over and over again. So probably she's like, I just can't hear it again. And I can understand that. But it makes me sad for her that looking at those pictures, she felt anxious about the criticism she'd receive over her feet. As a human being, my heart goes out to her in that, because what a sad thing that you'd have to be so worried about that. Please fix my feet. I don't want anybody to say, I have ugly feet. People are mean to each other. And I don't know, poor Meghan, really and truly. She's a nightmare, but there's a reason why she's a nightmare. And it does make me wonder, why is she this way? Without blaming anybody else, why internally is she this way? Why is this the way she reacts to the world? What is she hoping to gain? I don't know. I would just love to peel back the layers and find the true Meghan way, way, way deep down. All right. Well, they've got to launch this new campaign, right? Post-production's over. And to launch the new campaign, Reitman's hosted a lunch on 5th of April for fashion journalists. Jessica Mulroney had been invited to this luncheon. And this terrified Meghan. She did not want Jessica to really be any part of her association with Reitman's. Get Jessica away from here, This is this, This is something I just have to do in the underbelly of the fashion world, okay? This isn't really me, and I don't want Jessica to know about it. And she was panicking. She calls Lori Sale, and she's like, I'm so worried because of the table decor and the flowers in the menu. She screamed to her agent, Lori. It's all terrible. What will Jessica Mulrooney say? But Sale pointed out that her small audience in Los Angeles had never even heard of Mulrooney. So what did it matter what Jessica said? On TV, Mulrooney praised Reitman's faux leather leggings and their cashmere blend poncho, so she appeared to be fine with it. What's odd is that Meghan is really offended at her association with Reitman's, but on the same program that they had, where they were hosting, the same like fashion TV program where Reitman's was involved, Meghan was also promoting clothes manufactured by Forever 21. I don't totally understand exactly what's happening here, because it seems like if you're at a luncheon for Reitman's, I don't know why she's talking about clothes that are manufactured by Forever 21 that she's promoting. But I find it wild that she'd be offended about being associated with Reitman's, but she's going to give a pass to Forever 21. I mean, Forever 21, that was a place in high school where you would buy cheap clothes so that you could, wear them once out, and then you'd wash them once and they'd fall apart. And I just find it wild that she's so offended by things like a Tempur-Pedic robe in a hotel room, and it's not Dior. But she's gonna, as long as she can line her pockets, she'll shill for Forever 21. Meanwhile, Forever 21 is a company that's been criticized for paying its workers as little as $4 an hour. And with only the average going as high as $7 an hour, they've scored a 2 out of 5 on the ethical labor practices and a 2 out of 5 on efforts to reduce waste. So, I mean, for somebody who cares so much about the environment and also cares so much about a brand, being the face for Forever 21 in any conceptual way is wild. Shocking, shocking, shocking. Okay, well, these commercials definitely continue to propel Reitman's. Before their first ad campaign, their sales had increased by 15%. Now it was 20%. And this definitely helped Meghan to forget her anger, because remember, she's making money, 7% off of all of this. So forgetting her anger, Meghan spoke about the TV advertisement and the billboards with her face across Canada as life-changing. It's a huge moment, she said. It's a huge moment. Well, yeah, because those commercials are like, there's Meghan Markle. There's Meghan Markle. Is it Meghan Markle? Like, we're supposed to know her. And so, like, you have to know that every time she saw that, it just filled her little heart with glee, because here she could cosplay the reality that she wished had been her life all the time. She wished that she could walk into a restaurant and everybody's like, there's Meghan Markle. There's Meghan Markle. And everybody else in the audience is like, who?